Just going back to the logistics of it, you talked about a group that you sail with. How many ships? I mean, because you have to have support vessels, you have to have logistic support, you have to have protection, I imagine, as well. So, how many ships is in a squadron that well, what do you call it? A squadron or
a strike group?
A strike group. A strike group.
When they deploy in a squadron, it would be more when they're in their home base.
Yes.
And you'd have different ships in a squadron, and they would all come together, and they would answer to one person. But when you would deploy, only some ships out of that squadron, but they would comprise a strike group.
Right.
The amphibious strike groups have a tendency to be a little bit smaller than the carrier strike group. So you might have 3 ships. We had an LST, an LPD, and an LHD that deployed with us. The replenishment ships are geographically located, so they'll operate out of a certain theater.
Right.
And so when we deploy, we'll obviously they know we're coming. You know, we just don't show up on the door and say, "Hey, we're here."
Yeah, it's all planned. Yeah.
But it's all planned.
Yeah.
But then we'll routinely send in what we call a logistics request message, and we'll say, "Here's all the things we need," and they'll publish a schedule. Here's when this oiler is available. Here, and we call them oilers, general, whether they deliver food or oil or not. Most of them can do both. And we just say, "Here's what we need," and they'll say, "Okay, here's when we can fit it into your schedule." And here's where they can meet you. And then you pick a lat long and say, meet at this time and at this location. And that's where you'll do your replenishment.
It's a major job, all of that.
It is a lot of coordination. So you're looking at from across your entire enterprise of what do you need. And they've got it down pretty good. Like your supply officer is your primary person, but they'll also go to the aviation boss and say, how much fuel do you need?
Yeah.
Your fuel bosuns or your bosun's mate, that would call your fuel bosun. How much fuel do you need for the current training schedule coming up for flight or aircraft coming up expected? And so you put all that together in a message and you send it off, and then they'll go, here's what we can provide to you and give to you. And we'll meet them, and then sometimes they're as quick as an hour alongside, and then sometimes there's 3 or 4 hours, if not longer. And it's the most unnatural thing to take 2 ships that are supposed to be apart from each other and put them now to 140 to 200 feet away from each other.
So they can have the cable transferring the fuel and
fuels and helicopters as well.
Helicopters moving gear.
Yeah, so we'll send over fuel lines and we'll connect those up. And it just anytime you have ships 200 feet away from each other and
on a rolling sea, potentially.
On a rolling sea, we've had some pretty sporty days. In fact, the closest I think I ever came to a collision was alongside another ship.
Yeah.
And because it's just it's not natural to be alongside. Normally, you go out to sea and you operate away from them, and you don't get too close to them. But in this case, you have to do it to get the fuel. Yeah. And so you go alongside them, you bring the fuel on, you get the fuel. Surprisingly, monsters are the most critical in monster drinks. Yeah. You have to have monster those, drinks. And those are always the ones that had the highest proliferation, and they have a tendency to come up missing on those things. But it's a huge dance when you do that. But you look at it, and when you look at food service, they have a 21-day menu. So every 21 days, the menu repeats. And you can almost predict it. Like it's almost routine. Like Monday's always kind of been the Asian, maybe a mixed bag day. Tuesday was always Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
So it even has, migrated into the civilian world of people saying, hey, it's Taco Tuesday. Come out for Taco Tuesday. Wednesdays was Slider Wednesday. So Sliders was a nickname for hamburgers.
Hamburgers, yeah.
And then Thursday was Pasta Thursday. Yeah. And then Friday would be like a fish. I guess a little bit of the Catholic tradition coming in. So we always had fish on Friday. And then usually Saturdays were your pub days. Like we call it pub food. You'd have pizza, wings, cheese sticks, that kind of stuff. And then on Sundays, depending on where you're at, and I've had some commands where food was really bad where I just would skip meals. Yes. And then you had Boxer, we had this award called the NAY Award, and it recognizes the best supply department on that coast. So we had won that my first year there. We'd won the NAY Award, and we always had the best brunch. Like people would come and visit, and they're like, we heard about your brunch. We want to come and have brunch, Sunday brunch with you, because that was a big thing. That's also why Monday was usually not such a great day because they only had like it's zero sum. They only have so much food and allotment, so they'd put it all into Sunday and be like Monday was a little bit more like, oh, okay, well.
They just refry everything.
Clearly a massive catering capacity and crew on board. I mean, we really are doing a deep dive here into how it actually works. But this is and when you think of a Nimitz or Ford class being double the size, so double the numbers. It's a major logistic exercise just to feed the people and to fuel the machine, let alone put the weapons on board when you need them. So how do they arrive? You take a complement. When you're going in a strike group, you know what you're taking with you, but you may be out there, things may not go according to plan. You may need to replenish your munitions. How does that happen?
And it's the same process.
Yeah.
We can replenish it at sea, or we can pull into a port and do. Generally, your missiles, you're going to, if you're on like one of the smaller combatants, the destroyers, or a cruiser, you're going to pull into port and reload the missile tubes there. So if they went out and shot all their missiles off, they'd pull into port and reload those there, because you just kind of need the stability when you're putting missiles on there. But a lot of stuff, the ammunition and other stuff, we can get at sea.
The other thing that you mentioned before, LHD is what your boat was, the Boxer. Is it acceptable to call it a boat?
It's a ship.
Ship. So the way to always think about this is ships carry other boats.
Ships carry
so
other
a boat
boats.
doesn't have another boat on
boat
it. But
doesn't
if it's
have
a
another,
boat
but a
has
ship
another
can.
boat, it's a ship.
It's a ship.
It's like
Okay.
submarines.
Yeah,
They're boats.
Submarines are boats because they
don't
can't
have-
carry another ship.
Yeah, they don't have another boat on it.
Yeah,
The ships
that's right.
are.
You carry another boat.
I'm sure there's probably an exception somewhere to that
Yeah,
rule,
yeah,
but that's generally the rule, is that
Right.
if it's a ship, is something
It's a ship.
that has other
All right.
boats on it.
So stand corrected. Your ship was an LHD. You mentioned two other classes of the three ships that travel together. There was a
LSD and an LPD. And it's like,
LSD is, I'm assuming, not lysergic.
It's landing ship dock. So anything that starts with an L
Yeah.
it designates as amphibious.
Yeah.
And then it just happens to be what kind of things they can take on them.
Take on board.
So so you'll spread your assets across the fleet. Like in our case, we could have put all the AH-1 Cobras on board our ship, and all this. I mean, the Ospreys and F-35s have to be on the LHD because that's what they're designed for.
Yeah.
But you could have put them all onto one, or you could spread them out, and that kind of makes sense. Like if you have an issue with another ship, you don't want to lose all your capability on it. And also, you just don't have the footprint for all that stuff. And so you do spread it out on the other ships, and they have a little bit more specific purposes. But when it gets into the amphibious world, it kind of gets a little bit blurry about what's the difference between an LHC and an LPD and LSD, other than what they can carry. That's really what it boils down to, is what they can carry.
And size, presumably, as well.
In size, yeah. So your LHC is your bigger. It was what you'd call a capital ship.
Yeah.
So your nuclear aircraft carriers and your LHC are capital ships.
Capital ships.
So they're usually what everything revolves around and what everything should protect. So
you don't have any underwater protection with your strike groups?
You could.
Yeah.
And the way that generally happens with submarines is they're considered national assets.
Yeah.
So they're out on national tasking. So they're not assigned to a strike group per se.
Right.
They'll be assigned. They'll probably be in the area. You just don't know about it.
Yeah.
Unless you have a reason for why they want you to establish contacts with them, but they are out there
Doing their own
alone
thing.
and unafraid,
Doing their thing.
doing national tasking, doing their mission.
Yeah.